Hi there and welcome back to Japan, where today I am going to be talking about the new Otsuka Ai song with a very special guest. This song is called Aibiki and it is kind of an interesting one, but I am going to give you more than just a simple review because I think this one needs a bit of context. We're going to be going back into the history of Otsuka Ai and seeing how we got here. So anyway, with so much to unpack, I had a lot of notes to get together. So let's dive into this one. And I'll give you my review. I was obviously over the moon to see one of my formative J-pop heroes ping up on my YouTube feed with a brand new music video a good 17 years after I first fell in love with her music. However, I couldn't help but also feel a little bit of trepidation at the same time, as I knew my hopes would kind of outstrip my expectations. So, before I review Aibiki, it seems like a wise idea to recap the events of the last 17 years and why that would be. I first heard Otsuka Ai during the promotion of her second massively charting album Love Jam, which followed only a year after her debut in 2004. You can find a full review actually of that second album also on this channel. Both her first two albums captured my imagination for their ability to mix pop, rock, techno and ballads with a stunning compositional maturity, all underneath lyrics that varied from the gleefully cheeky to those that oozed truly heartfelt emotion. These albums were a feast of creativity with an unpretentious accessibility running throughout. Many commenters at the time had described Otsuka Ai as a gateway to J-pop, but I would argue she was both a gateway and also one of the most shining examples of the genre and scene at the time. The follow-up albums, Love Cook and Love Peace, managed to repeat those winning attributes whilst taking occasional risks and demonstrating a lack of complacency. Be it the dark brooding of Cherish, or a 3-minute song specifically designed for timing instant ramen, or a punk rock track starting with the sound of a bee buzzing around your headphones, Otsuka continued to both surprise and welcome the listener, making each album sound like a playground of musical imagination. The fifth album, Love Letter, saw a slight easing of the madness and a focus more on her love for raw musicianship. Still, even when calming down, the album did feature both a punk rock track and even a scat jazz track amongst the string of melodic pop and rock numbers and the continuation of that mature writing I was talking about earlier. Subsequent to this release, however, she eased into a sabbatical where she privately got married to Sue from Rip Slime and they had a child together. The ever-extroverted performer was notoriously private about her personal life, announcing both these events in retrospect and giving herself space to adjust to this new life. However, the world of pop doesn't really work that way, and keeping your personal life personal is a form of maturity that sees you somewhat disappear from the press. In a world where flaunting baby pictures and romances often is just as good publicity as the very art you seek to share, this was a mature but difficult choice. Otsuka's return, 6 years later, heralded quite possibly my favourite album of her lot, featuring quite possibly my favourite song of hers also. For a fan who has already been encapsulated by 11 years and 5 albums of previous material as well as numerous side projects and EPs, to find a new favourite after such a long time is a dream we all look forward to and all kind of hope for. Love Fantastic was a scattering of ideas and genres written across this hugely changing time in her life, fueled by life experiences and brought together with varied and razor-sharp arrangements akin to the first two albums, but here clearly touched by the now more mature and deeper involvement of the artist herself. Unfortunately, by this point, Otsuka's appeal had been whittled down to just the core fans, not so much a big chart topper anymore. A string of top 3 charting albums, in fact, ended with Fantastic only reaching 22 in the charts. Musically, this album was a massive highlight, but unfortunately, it was also a commercial turning point. Now, this may well have led to the lack of commercial publicity the follow-up received, but the possibility may be something more fundamental. Whilst Love Fantastic accrued a list of music videos and hype, the subsequent Love Tricky didn't even register a solitary single from the record company, and very little promotion was paid for either. But why? Singer-songwriters, especially those who inject personality into their songs, are often affected by the lives they lead, rather obviously, as that's the fuel for their creativity. Otsuka's career to this point had been fueled by a meteoric rise to fame, growth from her early 20s to 30s, and her eventual marriage and starting of a family. However, in the following years, rumours had emerged of a troubled marriage, a cheating husband, before all being confirmed by an inevitable divorce. The excitement and new adventures were likely hard to find in a time of stressful revelations and life changes, especially for such a private person. 2015's Love Tricky, an album that took less than a year to release in contrast to its long-maturing predecessor, showed signs that could well be attributed to an artist in this position. The sound of a musician who just wanted to enjoy doing something simple and to keep herself engaged on something else than all the noise that was going on around her. It's impossible to know the mindset of an artist from the outside, however much we might think we do, but something was clearly different at this point. A simple album indeed, therefore, was the result. At its heart, Love Tricky focused heavily on a synth-saturated sound that unfortunately did not play well to Otsuka's writing strength. The songs with greater feeling lost all nuance, and the more upbeat tracks felt lacking in experimentation. Yet there was good songwriting, but the writing was stifled on a CD that felt more as though it was a remix version of an album that should have come out before, but that we had never got to listen to, perhaps. 2 years later, a follow-up, Love Honey, would find more balance with guitars and live instruments, an improvement by all means, but still a relatively safe album showing a love of playing music more than experimentation with writing. Everything now just felt a little bit safe. Good. Still sounding like her, but just a little bit safe. So let's talk about why the surprise arrival of the Aibiki video on YouTube a couple of days ago is one of the biggest developments in her career in the last 7 years, in my opinion at least. In this song, named after a type of pork and beef mixed meat steak and heavily featuring upcoming female rapper Akko Gorilla, Otsuka Ai seems to have found something of a spark again. The song is built on a funky jazz backing that plays on both Otsuka's love of genuine musicianship and electronic production, but whilst also being a wonderful balance of fun and kinda classy. Akko, often quite punchy in her solo delivery, adapts to a smooth style of rap that allows her to mine the music for some clever rhythmic games that inject extra life and freshness into the proceedings. Otsuka's chilled vocal style is nothing new to those who've been listening to her in recent years, but gleefully counters the seemingly rather mundane subject of medium-priced steaks in a way that is reminiscent of the playful best of her career. Every line slides out with a cheeky sort of wink along the way. Aibiki could be fairly accused of offering no major changes of tone or even chord pattern from start to end, barely even registering an actual chorus, but the fun here lies more with it being 3.5 minutes of relentlessly playful back and forth between the two vocalists, bouncing between rap and singing, rhythmic and melodic, all whilst the arrangement feels more like a jam than a loop. What you get in the first 30 seconds will probably be enough to tell you if you're going to like the rest of a song, but it's all a game of subtlety from there on out, and Aibiki finishes up as a refreshing and uplifting mixture of musical giggles and good quality listening. Now, I don't know how this project actually came together in all honesty, and at what point Akko Gorilla joined, but I must imagine though that they had a great time making this, and with a video that backs up all of the juxtapositions, the tone, and all of the things that the song kind of infers lyrically, it feels like this collaboration hit a goldmine of matching personalities and creative humour. If anyone is going to pull off being classy in a cheap chain restaurant just for giggles, and then make a song about it, Otsuka's probably that woman. Given the collaborative nature, I do certainly hope that this is not just a flash in the pan. Either Otsuka has an extra spring in her step these days, or maybe we just need to see more of her with Akko Gorilla. After all, Akko certainly seems to have got the best out of her more seasoned collaborator, the apprentice who relights the fire in the master, you might say. Long story short, I've had this song on repeat play a lot in the last 2 days, and if it's any sign of things to come, I am going to be more excited for upcoming Otsuka Ai than I have been in years, and I do feel that it vindicates a lot of my trust and respect for her as an artist. So, today's silly metaphor? Aibiki is a Bunsen burner. When the flame looks less visible, turns out it's probably getting hotter. Yeah, so this is a wonderful return to form. In some ways, there's so many things that, I mean, you say return to form. I like the fact that she's not just going back and retreading ground, but you can just hear the sparks of the things that made me so excited by her music when I first heard her all those years ago. And I think many people were excited by her music, so I really hope that this catches the attention of all the right people. I know that she's not going to be a big sort of chart-topping pop star anymore, but so long as the right musical people are listening to this and it's getting through to people who just love playful, enjoyable music with quality thrown in, then I am really happy for that. And I'm also personally really excited to hear more of her. Like I say, this is just a nice feeling. It's nice to have the return of that feeling that I had from so many years ago. So, excitement. What would you think? Did you enjoy this? Would you like to see more collaborations for Otsuka Ai? Do you think that's something that's really helping her? It does seem to be something that she's looking into a little bit. She's done some production and remix sort of collaborations, but I am very interested to see her do a few more collaborations like this, certainly with artists who are as fun as Aqua Gorilla turned out to be. Really good stuff. Obviously looking to check out more of her music soon. I did check out a little bit of it when doing the research for this review, but please do check out a bit of her music and material as well. Like I say, get in the comments, tell me anything interesting you want to add to this, as well as your opinions. Now, as always, a big thank you for anyone who does the YouTubery stuff like liking or subscribing should you want to hear or see more, or if you just want to give me a little bit of a thumbs up, as well as a big thank you for anyone who follows any of our social medias linked in the description below, as well as a big thank you to all of our patrons. There's no adverts because they're the ones who keep us alive. Much love to all of you, as well as a big thank you to yourself for getting through to the end of this waffly old video. So until I hopefully see you very soon in Japan for the next one of these, for now, ciao ciao.